So I originally wrote this for the Create 50 Impact series. I had a version of this. They were asking for 2-minute scripts about something to do with an asteroid impact, and I came up with this concept, and then I submitted it and realised really quickly that I hadn't really done it a great deal of justice at 2 minutes long, and I had so many more ideas for where the story could go. I extended it out into a sort of 7.5 page script, and then sent it to Christina, who liked it, and here we are.
I've worked with Adam before. He did a day of producing for me on a short that I wrote last year, and he approached me and said he had this script and was I still producing, and so I took a read and really loved it. Really loved this kind of very, very big universe in a very, very small setting. That's always one of my favourite things. I'm really interested in character above anything else, and so yeah, liked what I saw and said, all right then, you're on. Let's do this.
For me, it was more kind of the family bond of the story, it not being a sci-fi film. You know, what kind of attracts me to projects is that human element in film. So it's less about the asteroid, it's less about, for me anyway, when I watch it, it's less about the world ending, it's more about how they're dealing with it as a family and how they're, I suppose, remembering their last moments together.
I loved the characterisation. I'm always very, very interested in how people behave in difficult situations, and that it's not necessarily screaming and yelling and oh my god, that actually that kind of the quiet acceptance that Doreen has, set against Henry's sort of immediate depression at the situation, and then of course Miles's hope that this is, you know, very easily overcome.
He believed a lot. He believed that he really was in a spaceship, and I think he really liked his family. He really loved his family, and he really wanted to help them.
I think I got really, really lucky with this film in that Adam is a very collaborative writer and director. He's not precious about his work in any way. He's very, very willing to take criticism. He's very, very open to other people's ideas and interpretation of what he wants to do. So I never at any point thought I couldn't say, well, what if we tried it this way? Or what about this? Or how about we add, you know, a radio report at the beginning? All of that he was incredibly open to. And all of that helped to shape a far bigger world for the audience than we actually had in terms of money and resources. So I think it worked really, really well. I think Adam and I both understand that film is the most collaborative art form to work in, and without this enormous group of people, your words on a page are just words on a page. So that was great.
I knew what I wanted it to look like. We very much wanted to go for like a Spielberg-y 80s vibe to it. Bring back the sense of wonder I think is missing in films. They're very good at the moment in showing us wonderful visuals, but they miss the sense of wonder that they used to be able to capture through their lighting and their musical cues and things like that. So we really approached it that way in trying to recreate something I grew up with.
So I had a lot of talks with Adam when we were in the pre-production stage of Spaceman, and we both agreed that we wanted to go for a very epic Spielberg kind of uplifting feel with this. There's a lot of different ways we could have gone with this particular narrative, but instead of going with a dark, depressing and almost like expected route, we thought we would try and take it along a more uplifting and kind of stylized thing that's a bit of a throwback to the old Spielberg films and things like that. So we wanted nice, sweeping, wide, anamorphic shots, lots of flair, lots of cool vintage colours.
So we shot on the Arri Alexa with anamorphic lenses. Very early on, it's what my DOP recommended. We put together a wish list, and we were able to jump through some hoops and make that happen, which is the biggest camera I've ever seen. Certainly at the first few shots in it, I very much stayed away from the camera.
Managed to get hold of the main pride of it was the lenses, some really, really nice Cinevision anamorphic lenses, vintage glass that had a very, very particular look that really made it look like it was one of those films that was shot back in the 70s and sort of 80s time, when that kind of classical Hollywood sci-fi was really very common. So we've got some really nice colours, some very weird sort of blurs in the side of the frame, and then some really nice sweeping flares as well in certain points as well. And it really just does add a little bit more into making you feel like you're watching something from that kind of time.
The shoot was my favourite shoot I have ever been on, ever. It was really, really relaxed. Everyone got on really brilliantly. We pretty much ran on time, aside from a slight hiccup where we had to reshoot one scene because of a continuity error, which put us less than 5 minutes over. It all ran really, really smoothly. In fact, Adam and I, as time was going on, kept sort of leaning into each other and saying, when's it gonna go wrong? When's something gonna happen?
My favourite scene to shoot was probably the one where I was going into the spaceship and I was telling everyone to put their seatbelts on and telling my dad that it was a lot faster than his car.
It's very exciting as a mum to come and watch him working and seeing him in a different environment to how he is at home, when he is just a crazy little boy and then he switches into work mode. So although he's done work in the past, we've never actually been able to watch him do it. So actually being on set with him and seeing him working was really nice. See how it works and how he reacts and how he can actually put the work face on.
We wanted to be able to get the camera in and move it around so we could see everyone in their individual spaces and everything. But when we actually got there, it was very, very difficult, and it was just too close. I think sitting in there with the camera, it was very uncomfortable. I was sort of sitting on my legs and everything. So I think in the end what we managed to do is take a panel away, sit just on the outskirts. I had the camera on my knee, and then we were rotating the people around and just slightly changing the angle, and then managing to sort of jolt the camera a little bit on my knee so that you got that effect of the shaking of the world sort of breaking up and everything, which made it a little more organic and natural than trying to add in the shake in post. And it was a little bit of let's see how it goes, and I was really happy with the result. Actually, it worked out really nicely.
Obviously an asteroid hits at the end, or meteor, or there's a loud bang, and then it kind of swells gradually towards them, and I think actually that scene it's almost like 90 seconds, 2 minutes long almost. It's quite a long time, and I've never been in an earthquake or an asteroid invasion, or so it's difficult to kind of put yourself in that position and kind of work out what it's exactly is going to sound like. But what you do know is you want to be conveying terror, fear, any kind of sad emotions, I suppose, and anything I can do to kind of aid that process was fine. I think being able to compare what it sounded like without the rumble and the really loud environment, and then with it, just means that you kind of appreciate how terrifying that sound is.
I don't think anyone will have expected this kind of ending from me if they've seen my work before. We knew we had a surprise ending kind of that people wouldn't anticipate in the film, so we wanted to get it right. So yeah, that one is probably the one that is closest to, from the very moment you put something on paper to exactly how it ends up, that's probably the thing that changed the least. So I managed to build exactly what I saw in my head, and then when we shot the scene, it was exactly like it should be, which was great. Right down to the lens flare, which was actually in my original storyboard.
My favourite shot would be the very end. In fact, it's a bit of a cheat. I still can't decide between the two at the very end, whether it's the light coming over the panels in the spaceship, or that tracking shot into our little boy as he's dressed up as the spaceman. But I still remember that feeling I got when we put it all together. We switched on the camera, we looked through the monitor, and then we just got that light blasting through the side of the frame, and it was absolutely gorgeous.
My favourite shot of the film has to be the final shot, as Milo turns around in this incredible spaceship of his imagination, and you get that fantastic ray of light across the middle of the screen. It's just beautiful aesthetically, but also uplifting and bittersweet emotionally too. And I think that's when film is working in perfect synchronization, when you balance a beautiful shot with real emotional resonance.